and we're coming.
Kind of foggy down there. We're live today, not only in Washington. Geraldo's going to be joining us in just a moment. Brian is at the Super Bowl down in Atlanta. The person you're referring to, remember when Cory Booker, the senator from the great state that I live in, New Jersey, during the Kavanaugh hearings, had this, what is referred to now commonly as the Spartacus moment?
I'm going to release the email about racial profiling. And I understand that the penalty comes with potential ousting from the Senate. And if Senator Cornyn believes that I violated Senate rules, I openly invite and accept the consequences. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment.
Yeah. There you go.
In the middle of the Kavanaugh hearings, he was already signaling he was going to run for president. He made this big show of it, and in the end, nothing really came of the whole fight.
He said he was doing something that apparently had already been done.
Right. He was going to break Senate rules to release emails. Some of it had already come out. Chuck Grassley, the chairman, said, I'm releasing this stuff anyway, so it's one big show.
Well, a lot of people thought that the Kavanaugh hearing was an opportunity for so many of them to be heard.
Kamala Harris was on that committee as well.
Wondering if they were going to run for president in 2020. And this morning, Cory Booker posted this video on his Instagram post. Watch this.
I believe that we can build a country where no one is forgotten, no one is left behind, where parents can put food on the table, where there are good-paying jobs with good benefits in every neighborhood, where our criminal justice system keeps us safe instead of shuffling more children into cages and coffins. Together, we will channel our common pain back into our common purpose. Together, America, we will rise. I'm Cory Booker, and I'm running for President of the United States of America.
All right, let's bring in Geraldo Rivera. He joins us every Friday at this time. Geraldo, you just heard Cory Booker, who's the junior senator from the state you and I both live in. What do you make of where he said, where our criminal justice system keeps us safe instead of shuffling more children into cages and coffins?
Well, what he's talking about there is the revolving door of municipal justice, where kids get busted for small-time drug offenses, then get caught up in the system. They get longer and longer sentences until they become incorrigible career criminals. I think his call for criminal justice reform is probably the most attractive thing about the Cory Booker candidacy. You remember, Steve, back in 2012, I was going to run against Cory Booker for the open seat held by Frank Lautenberg, our longtime senator who passed away in office. And Kellyanne Conway, who's coming on the program, was advising me informally. She said, what I should do is do a spot standing in the worst block in the worst neighborhood in Newark and say, don't let Cory Booker do for New Jersey what he did for Newark when he was mayor here. It would have been a kind of a bitter and angry, ugly way to campaign. I ultimately decided not to run because the Republicans nominated someone who was a traditional conservative, despite my arguments that they needed someone who was more progressive to win in a purple state like New Jersey.
Pardon me, you're also pointing to something, though. What you just said is really important. You're right that people like optimistic, forward-looking messages, which is what you wanted to do if you had run. And with Cory Booker, when he's using a phrase like, we're throwing kids into cages, I mean, how negative, how down is that when you're trying to launch a presidential campaign?
Well, it may be down, Ed, but I'm not sure that it won't work. Remember, Cory Booker has been running for president since birth, basically. He's one of those lean and hungry politicians. He's charismatic. He's on Stephen Colbert and Bill Maher show every other night. I think that he'll try to go that route, the counterculture route, and see if that has any traction. I think yeah, go ahead, Ainsley. Sorry.
Is he left enough? I'm sorry, I interrupted you, but is he left enough? I mean, you have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You have several that are now saying tax the rich 90%, socialist, Medicare for all.
My impression is he'll be much more pragmatic than that. He'll try to run left of center, but not as far left as say, AOC is. Right. Booker's, I think his real problem is whether or not he's sincere, whether he's a deep thinker. That whole Spartacus preposterous moment during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. What was that all about? I am Spartacus, I am Napoleon. I have no idea, but whether he has traction, we'll see.
All right.
He has been running a long time.
Something that's gotten a lot of traction over the last 6 weeks is the government shutdown. Of course, last week, as you know, Nancy Pelosi said, look, I'm not negotiating with Donald Trump until he opens the government. Last Friday, he reopened the government. Now, the signals are, and Nancy Pelosi very clear yesterday, she said there's no wall money in the deal. And yesterday, the president had heard these comments, and he said this in the Oval Office.
I don't think they're going to make a deal. I see what's happening. They're all saying, oh, let's do this, but we're not giving one dime for the wall. That's okay. But if they're not going to give money for the wall, it's not going to work. And if it's not going to work, then the politicians are really wasting a lot of time. We're allowing people to come into this country and sell drugs and human traffic and do all of these horrible things that if we had the simplicity of a well-constructed, beautiful barrier or wall, they wouldn't be able to come into our country.
And Geraldo, you have said on this program, give the president the money for his wall.
Well, I think that not to give the president, just on principle, just digging your heels in and saying you're not getting a dime to replace, to repair, or God forbid to expand the over 600 miles of fencing and barrier and wall that already exists is pure spite on Nancy Pelosi's part. And I think the president is probably right. She's digging in her heels, not saying a single dollar for a wall, giving the president really no chance. There's not a negotiation. In other words, in a negotiation, you sit, you have a compromise, it's painful. Okay, I'll give you 50 miles of wall if you give me the amnesty for the Dreamers and a ticket to citizen. You make a negotiation. It's difficult on both sides because you have to give up something you don't want to. But it just seems to me that she is dooming any potential negotiations right from the get-go, making much more likely that in mid-February the president will declare a national emergency because he's hell-bent on getting a barrier, getting a wall, getting some more of the division between our neighbors to the south, in physical form.
Why do you think he tweeted out? He said, let's just call this them walls from now on and stop playing political games. A wall is a wall. So remember he said at first, okay, we'll call it a barrier, whatever you want to call it. Now he's saying no.
And then he was going to put solar panels on top of it and, cool drinks with umbrellas and all the rest of it. I think that what the president has discovered, much to his chagrin, instantly I think that Governor Christie was right that the president went into the first shutdown without a clear idea of how he was going to get out of the back end of it. And now it's even worse because now Nancy Pelosi is telegraphing out front that no matter how these negotiations go, not a dime for the wall, no matter what. So I believe that what's happened is he sees he's not going to win in a negotiation, so he's going to go ahead. I think that's a signal, a clear signal, and as I said, that the president will declare a national emergency, use money from the Department of Defense or some other federal agency, Homeland Security, wherever the money exists, maybe FEMA, to start construction. I think in a way it's a face saving for the president. He must get some new wall out of it. Just as it is face-saving for Nancy Pelosi, she cannot allow a single foot of wall to be constructed. This is a sorry way to run a government.
Yeah, and Geraldo, as that political debate plays out, what's actually happening at our southern border, you look at what happened in Arizona, Border Patrol, just the last 24 hours or so, confiscating enough fentanyl to kill 57 million people in this country. How can Democrats continue to say this is a manufactured crisis when something like that factually happens at the border?
Well, they would say, I know Nogales very well. I'm a U of A grad. We used to go to Nogales, Mexico every Friday night. Now, no more. Now there's a lot more trepidation, a lot fewer social calls, casual calls across the border. The Democrats would argue that the fentanyl came in a produce truck, as most drugs do, through a port of entry, and that the wall would not have stopped it. To that, I reply, let's take Nancy Pelosi at her word. Let's enormously enhance the ports of entry. Well, I would make a humanitarian argument, a democratic argument for a wall. You hear the stories of these children dying in the desert trying to get across desperate because they can't get through ports of entry, where they found 4,000 bodies over the last year, people trying to make it across. I once tried. I made it with a group of undocumented migrants. We walked 45 miles. Many of them were at the end of their line by the time we made it across. Yes, Anthony.
Yep.
Well, the president has suggested he wants to beef up the ports and do something about a wall as well. So let's see what happens. But right now, it looks like the president is not going to get what he wants. Geraldo, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right,
good
Jillian
seeing you too.
Good seeing you. Jillian has some more headlines for us.
Good
Hey,
morning
Jillian,
again.
happy
That's right.
Friday.
Good morning. Happy Friday. And let's get you caught up on this. A teenager missing for 2 weeks is found alive nearly 700 miles away from home. Officials say 14-year-old Savannah Pruitt left her Tennessee home on January 13th due to a family situation. She was just found in Wisconsin, but it's unclear how she got there. Savannah's adoptive father, Randall Pruitt, is behind bars, charged with sexual assault. Dozens of police officers rev their motorcycle engines so a cop killer could hear them as he's put to death. Well, as you can see, the officers setting up outside the prison where Robert Jennings was executed by lethal injection this week. He shot and killed Houston police officer Elston Howard during a robbery attempt in 1988. Officer Howard was 24 years old. 2 Georgia Democrats will most likely skip President Trump's State of the Union address. Congressman John Lewis and Hank Johnson both plan to boycott Tuesday's speech. Failed Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams will deliver the Democrats' response to the State of the Union. The Navy will honor the first female fighter jet pilot with the first ever all-woman flyover at her funeral tomorrow. Captain Rosemary Mariner was one of the first women to earn her wings, and at 21 years old became the first woman to fly a tactical fighter jet. In 1991, she became the first woman to command an aviation squadron during the Gulf War. Mariner died last week of ovarian cancer at 65 years old. Send it back to you.
What a pioneer.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jillian.
Thanks, Jillian.
All right. Meanwhile, it is chilly outside, but the deep freeze that we had a couple of days ago, not quite as bad, but it's not over yet. A live look in Chicago where it is just 9 degrees. We are live in the Windy City, the chilly Windy City next.
Oh, boy. Yep. Looks like an icebox. Plus, bats taking over the basketball court. The wild scene inside one arena.
Basketball. Well, we are back with some extreme weather. Quick-moving snow could make roads slick today all the way from Kentucky right up through Philadelphia.
This week, at least 15 people killed in the record-breaking cold.
And let's not forget the middle of the country. Mike Tobin is in the middle of that, live from Chicago, where a warm-up maybe is on the way. Mike, does it feel warm yet? Doesn't look like it.
Well, the warm is all relative. It's amazing what'll make you start feeling comfortable. It's just about 10 degrees right now, and that's so much better than negative 20. It's still quite cold out here, but there's a lot of good news. Amtrak service is running again to the city of Chicago. The Metro electric lines are not running in and out of the city, and that's only because on Wednesday night a freight train derailed and took out a bunch of the infrastructure. Good news, FlightAware.com says we have fewer than 1,000 flight cancellations for the first time since this whole thing got started. A big issue right now is burst pipes. When the weather gets super cold, you'll get a plug of ice in the pipe, and that's what expands and breaks the pipe. And then when it starts to get warmer, it melts and water shoots all over the place. So plumbers are doing double duty right now. Also doing double duty are the firefighters. When you get extreme weather like this, between space heaters, bad ideas to get warm, and overtaxed systems, you get a lot of call for firefighters. And it becomes very difficult for them. A lot of times they bring in warming trucks so you can rotate the fire crews through. So among other things, they can get their hands moving. And beyond that, what you have are a lot of people in the Midwest just a little bit in shock for what we went through.
All right, indeed, those images are stark. But it is a lot warmer today, Mike, than what you had yesterday.
Well, the high yesterday was 0,
It is.
and now it's about 9 or 10 degrees. All right, thank you so much, Mike.
Beautiful picture.
All right, meanwhile, what about temperature-wise are we going to see today? Janice Dean, the weather machine, joins us from the streets of New York City, where some folks have braved the cold weather.
How are you guys? Where are you guys from?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
And do you love the cold?
Yeah, I like it.
You do? I love the optimism. Good for you guys. And what are your names?
I'm Titan.
Thor. Billy.
You guys, anniversary?
Yeah.
Do whatever she says.
I love it. What are your names?
Teresa.
Aw, thank you for coming out. Let's take a look at the temperatures. Yes, it's a little warmer here, relatively speaking, but look at these record lows, my friends. These are actual air temperatures. Minus 56 in Cotton, Minnesota, minus 38 in Mount Carroll, Illinois, and if that is verified, that will be the coldest state record. Minus 38, incredible. So there's your wind chill. I mean, it's minus 4 in Chicago, but that's a 26-degree difference than what it was yesterday. Minus 1 is what it feels like in New York City. Those are your wind chills, and look at the difference. 27-degree difference this time yesterday in Chicago. It is going to feel downright balmy. Here are your forecast temperatures as we head into Saturday and Sunday and Monday, getting close to 50 degrees, and then we'll have another Arctic blast, but it certainly won't be like this one. Here's your forecast today. We do have a system moving into the west, and it will feel relatively warmer across much of these areas. Here's your Super Bowl forecast. 60 degrees, light winds, maybe a little bit of rain, nothing they can't handle. And tomorrow it is Groundhog Day. I will be heading out to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania to see what the groundhog has to say if we will have 6 more weeks of winter. All right, wave to everybody at home. Hi. Yay.
Excellent.
No hugs.
Not take 6 more weeks of winter, I don't think.
No.
Well, it's 6 weeks till spring. It's
60 degrees for the Super Bowl. That's perfect.
Okay.
All right, it is 20 minutes after the top of the hour. The self-proclaimed Spartacus is now in the 2020 race.
The closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment.
Does Cory Booker even have a chance of standing out in a crowded Democratic field? We're going to debate it. Coming up next.
And we have counselor to the President of the United States, Kellyanne Conway, as well as NFL legend Jim Brown. They're coming up live.
0.378. That is the blood alcohol level of a drunk driver already on probation for driving drunk. Police say the suspect's blood was 4 times the legal limit and had the potential to actually be deadly. Next, $25 million. That is how much money California Governor Gavin Newsom wants for an emergency fund to help the migrants seeking asylum. If approved, the taxpayer money would be available this summer. And finally, $0. Beyonce and Jay-Z are bribing fans with free concert tickets for life if they go vegan for 1 month. Fans will be entered to win the tickets if they make the pledge to eat plant-based food and reduce their environmental imprint.
All right. Thanks, Ainsley. Fox News alert right now. Another Democrat entering the 2020 presidential race.
I believe that we can build a country where no one is forgotten, no one is left behind, where parents can put food on the table, where there are good-paying jobs with good benefits in every neighborhood, where our criminal justice system keeps us safe instead of shuffling more children into cages and coffins.
Cages and coffins. Some tough rhetoric there from Cory Booker. With an ever-growing field of Democrats, does he have a chance of standing out? Here to debate, Michael Knowles, host, of course, of The Michael Knowles Show, and Jason Nichols, a Democratic strategist. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ed.
Michael, do we finally have our Spartacus moment?
I don't know. Are we sure that Spartacus is even eligible to run for president? Last I checked, he was a Thracian. It's very hard to figure out how Cory Booker will break out in this field. Who is Cory Booker? In 2012, he was the moderate defending Mitt Romney. Today, he's Spartacus crying tears of rage. You saw this entire opening commercial was about victimhood, collective pain. This is another hard case for Cory Booker to make. Cory Booker, when he was a kid, his parents were executives at IBM. He's trying to pretend that he grew up in the school of hard knocks. Howard Schultz, a billionaire CEO, has a much better claim than Cory Booker does to growing up in victimhood. What is he going to run toward? He seems to be outflanked on all sides. Outflanked in achievement, outflanked in ideology. I just don't see. I think I haven't been this excited since Julian Castro announced he was running for president. Yeah. Another guy who probably won't even be vice president.
Jason, another day, another Democrat getting in.
Yeah, well, I agree with some of the things that my counterpart just stated. I think that Cory has some issues in a more progressive field where he has issues with his connection to big pharma, school choice, and his connections to Wall Street. So I think he's got some issues that many progressives are not going to like. However, I think he can stand out. I mean, he's a good politician. He seems to constantly win. So he's got a chance, and he's certainly got a better chance than Howard Schultz at any point. Howard Schultz doesn't have even a shot.
Well, we shall see. I can see that you and a lot of Democrats seem to be a little bit worried about about Mr. Schultz and whether or not he's going to pull.
He makes a good cup of coffee.
We'll debate that maybe on another day. Some people like Duncan a little better. Michael, though, I want to widen the lens and talk a little bit about the Democratic field. And you see the president already sort of licking his chops and saying, when you look at it, they're for open borders. They want more crime, essentially, in his words. And now when you look at what's happening on abortion in Virginia and other states, that the Democratic Party is getting more radical.
That's right. They're learning all of the wrong lessons from President Trump. They see that President Trump has had success by taking clear, bold, extreme policy stances. The difference is that President Trump's strong, bold policy stances have been for popular policies, border security, economic growth. Now the Democrats are doubling down on their issues, but they're for very unpopular policies. Open borders, 70, now 90% tax rates, and abortion not only in the second trimester, but in the third and apparently the fourth trimester, abortion after birth, according to the Democrat Virginia governor. This is not going to play very well.
Well, Jason, on that point, you're representing a party that is, pro-choice. They want abortion rights, but is it getting more and more extreme so that when you try to win a national election, this is going to blow up in your face? Because when you add what Michael said about taxes of 70, 80, 90%, how do you win a national election?
Well, first of all, we had a tax rate prior to 1980 that was 70% for the top 1%, and we had plenty of economic growth during that period from 1930 to 1980. So I don't think that that's actually going to be
there were a few loopholes in there. Maybe the people got around it, and we're not actually paying that much.
And what happened in the 1980s and 1990s? I think economic growth exploded during that era.
Let Jason get in.
Again, I think many of the policies that were mentioned, particularly things like Medicare for all, 70% of Americans want Medicare for all. So this is, a lot of the progressive policies that are being put forth, criminal justice reform, these are really popular policies with most Americans.
Well, the president just signed into law criminal justice reform. Are you for the president on that one?
No, I think the president has made a good start being bipartisan, but he listened to Democrats and the push that the American people wanted on criminal justice reform.
All right, and in terms of Medicare for all, we'll see how everyone's going to pay for that. We look forward to that debate. Jason, Michael, thanks for coming.
I'll be there.
Good to see you.
We'll have you back. The January jobs report about to come out. We will bring you the numbers live coming up. Plus, counselor to the President of the United States, Kellyanne Conway, live. She'll react to the jobs numbers and a whole lot of other big issues. Plus, our man Brian, live in Atlanta for the Super Bowl. Good morning again, Brian.
Hey, Ed, thanks so much. The Landmark Diner is still pumped up, even though I was gone, right? All right. So, of course, here with Mike and his great group. I'll talk to them in a moment. Mike, you have 2 words for me.
The ball and the wall. That's what we're talking about.
Now, Mike is an auctioneer. Mike, let's say, for example, this group wants to buy this ball. What is an opening bid? $50?
No, I'm going to start this at $10.
Let's go.
10 now, but on 25, 35, 45, 100. 200 down, 300, 400, 5, 600, 700. 7 go to heaven, tell me 7.
All right, there you go. Back in a moment with a very fun group here in Atlanta, Georgia, and Jim Brown. Don't go away.
I wonder if a high school senior in the United States in a good school knows what an adverb is, what an adjective is. But as I said, they know about global warming, but basic stuff. Teachers' unions support everything that undermines my country, in my view, and I am then supposed to feel bad, and I do. I feel bad for the individual teacher, but I'm sorry. Your union is a destructive force in America.
There's Dennis Prager in a new episode of The Wise Guys on Fox Nation. Bill Bennett talks to a West Coast panel, including PragerU founder Dennis Prager, about the public education system, politics in California, and illegal immigration.
And you can catch it all by going to foxnation.com. You can start your free trial, and then if you love it, you can sign up, and it's only $5.99 per month.
It is an app. It is awesome. It's almost like Netflix for news. You can go on there. They got a great variety of things. I'm going to have a sports show on there, no joke, in March.
That's cool.
We're going to be rolling out new episodes. Ed Henry's front row seat. You're going to love it.
That's great.
But it's a little bit like Netflix, and it's got all kinds of great options. Check it out on the App Store or go to Fox Nation.
Well, you love sports. You love cooking. You have
I do. I saw the cooking show with Kellyanne. It was awesome.
It was indeed. All right. So go to foxnation.com for more information. Meanwhile, This Sunday, apparently, there's a big football game. The L.A. Rams will take on the New England Patriots in Super Bowl, as you can see right there, 53.
This will be, yes, the Patriots' 11th Super Bowl. They're used to this. So what does team owner Bob Kraft think about their chances?
He's definitely doing something right, isn't he? Brian Kilmeade is back with that special guest. Good morning, Brian and Mr. Kraft.
And Mr. Kraft's got his Dunkin' Donuts coffee to start the day. The Patriots run on Dunkin'.
He's a smart guy. They're a sponsor.
No, but I like it. It gets me going. I'll put it if it's uncomfortable.
No, hey, it's good for sponsorship. I think they just renewed. Bob Kraft, he was a fan for 23 years, season ticket holder, and now he is bought this team for $175 million. It's worth a lot more. They weren't winning much. They win all the time now. 5 Super Bowl victories, 9 conference titles, 18 division titles, and best of all, you're a fan first, right, Bob?
Oh, and I pinch myself all the time that I have the privilege of owning my hometown team. And I love having the responsibility of managing it. And when you do a great job, if you do a good job, you do a great job for your community.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that the NFL commissioner brought up at his conference on Thursday is that one thing about Bob Kraft is that, people just think about what he does for the Patriots. You don't understand what he does for the league. So when you're not pulling for the Patriots, you're in all these committees trying to make the game better, trying to make other franchises better.
Well, it started 25 years ago when I bought the team, and I paid 50% more than I thought I would, and I had a lot of debt, and I wanted to make sure things went well, and so I tried to weigh in. And we're not sellers, so when you're not sellers, you think long term, and you want to make sure the organizations you're involved with, just like Fox,
right,
is thinking strategically and not short-term profits.
Absolutely. Before we talked, he goes, yeah, I buy stuff. I don't really sell stuff. And I wouldn't sell the Patriots now. So here you are, third straight Super Bowl. You had that dramatic comeback against the Falcons. And don't want to bring that up on the streets because there's a lot of Falcons fans here.
But it's good for CBS because people are passionately rooting against us.
Yeah, they are.
So it's good for the ratings.
You don't mind that. And then
no, it's great.
Last year, the dramatic loss to the Eagles. This year, you're going against the Rams. They've never been here before. What's your mindset going in? The only thing I can guarantee, it's going to be close. What is your mind? What is the mindset of the team going in?
Well, I think about what it was like 17 years ago to the day on Sunday, February 3rd. We were the largest underdogs in the history of the Super Bowl.
Taking on the St. Louis Rams.
We're taking on the exact same franchise. And, no one gave us a chance, and it came through. So I never take it for granted. The good news is when you practice well, at least you're in a position that you have a good chance. And I think we've had a good week of practice. The guys are really serious. They know how unique this opportunity is. And after we went the first time in '96, I was thinking it might never happen again in my lifetime. So we better take advantage and enjoy every moment of it.
So after the game, Tom Brady felt as though he had something to prove. I don't know. He does this to himself all the time.
After which game?
After your conference championship victory. He looked at Hogan, and Hogan looked at him and said, "You're too old," and he said, "You're too slow." There's something about your team where even though you keep winning, you keep on thinking it's the Patriots against the world. You still have that underdog mentality.
Yeah, and part of it, a lot of it was before the season started. We had a lot of your friends in the media making commentary on the end was here.
Because there was rumors that Brady was going to retire. How close was that? How real was that?
Well, the good news is we're going to the Super Bowl. And
so it was real?
No. I don't think there's anything other than his family that turns Tom Brady on, like playing football. And I know that he wants to do it as long as he can.
Right. How close were you? What role did you play in the trading of Garofalo, this young upstart, heir apparent, over to San Francisco? And how much did that mean to Tom Brady that you did it, that he was traded?
Let me just say this. I have probably one of the best football minds handling personnel in the 99-year history of the league. So we consult on a lot of things, but my coach has the final say.
Okay. And this league had a great year. Your ratings are up 5%. The interest in the playoffs, 51 million, I think, watched your game, the conference game. You care about the league, as you just mentioned. How much does the no longer the kneeling situation have to do with the league surge, do you think?
Well, I think there's a whole number of factors. I think a lot of people, and we've seen it with the government shutdown, people living paycheck to paycheck don't have a lot of savings. And they're looking to connect to something that allows them to escape from their daily travails. And, you know, I think the NFL being a sport once a week, if you have people that your community can identify with, and, you know, what we do out in the community, how we connect with our fans, I'm pretty proud of our guys. And I think we've tried to bring pride to our community over the last 25 years. When you think about it, we came down here last Sunday. We had 35,000 people come to our stadium, which was more than our average attendance when I used to sit in the stands. Right. And they came for a 20-minute block, and they started lining up at 2:30 in the morning on a, you know how cold it is up north. So
because fundamentally you're a fan. Right after you won, the President of the United States tweeted out, "Congratulations, Patriots, and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady." Clearly he's pulling for you guys. What does that feel like?
Well, we can use every fan who wants to support us from wherever they are in their standard of life. I'll tell you, this year and last year we started the largest homeless shelter in Boston. We've done a video for them, and we sponsor a big brunch for them so they all can come in, and it's very well attended. So we love all fans.
Right. Have you had a chance to speak to the president? Because I know you guys are social friends. Never did business together, but you're social friends. Have you spoken to him before? Did he give you any advice?
Well, I have a lot of people who give me advice, and he's been very supportive, and I know he's working very hard to serve the best interests of the country.
Right. Will you watch his interview before? I think he speaks to CBS before. Do you watch are you going to watch this year?
I don't know where we'll be or what time it is. Is it on Fox News?
CBS. No, not on Fox.
Oh,
I think CBS is going to cover it. Yeah, the other thing you brought up, too, is the guy who runs our company, Rupert Murdoch. You said from your level on the success you've had, you really relate to him well.
Well, he's one of the most outstanding human beings on the planet. You know, to think of a man who came from Australia, went to the UK, did what he did, had the impact on the election process there with the newspapers and the media and Sky, came to America, started Fox the same time we came into the NFL 25 years together. He changed the NFL the way the other networks had to cover us, and he really helped upgrade, and I think he and his family, you know, are amazing entrepreneurs on a global basis, and I love that he's still active and dynamic and trying to do great things.
Could I say I fully back that endorsement, and you've never been more right? Listen, finally.
Well, I know your objectives. So
right. Now,
when's your contract up?
Oh, it's this next year. Thank you. Bob, you can do the best you can. You can do that. Lastly, real quick, your prediction on this game.
Well,
I know what you want, but what do you think?
Well, I really hope and believe good things will happen, but no one knows.
Right.
Think of 17 years ago. 18 years ago.
The upset right after 9/11 in New Orleans, the big win over the Rams, the greatest show on turf, went down to a young Tom Brady and a young owner in Bob Kraft. Mr. Kraft, thanks so much. I got to go back to the diner now.
All right, get some crispy home fries with your white egg on.
Delicious. You got it. Absolutely. Good luck on it. Good luck on the game. Back to you guys.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Mr. Kraft. Breaking moments ago, Senator Cory Booker is running for president, and we have got campaign video that was just released.
Plus, another new video just in showing the migrant caravan on the move. Thousands of them heading out on foot right now. Griff Jenkins is live with the caravan. You're going to see that next.
Plus, Geraldo Rivera and the counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, both here, both live, both coming up.
We are back with a Fox News alert, and I guess we can make it official now because moments ago, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker officially announces he's running for president in 2020.
Together, we will channel our common pain back into our common purpose. Together, America, we will rise. I'm Cory Booker, and I'm running for president of the United States of America.
Booker joins a crowded field of Democratic presidential hopefuls, including Senator Kamala Harris and Julian Castro. And that is a look at your headlines. So, news that people expected, guys, but it's official.
All right. It is indeed. All right. Thank you very much. We'll talk to Geraldo about that shortly. Meanwhile, take a look at this. Right now, migrants are piling into semi-trailer trucks on their final march to the U.S. border.
And right now, 2 more caravans are gearing up to leave Central America.
Our man near the border, Griff Jenkins, is traveling with migrants in Mexico right now. He joins us live. Good morning, Griff.
Hey guys, yeah, good morning. They're on the move. You can see behind me on this walkway coming across the busy highway. They've been filing in for the last half hour. They're coming down this walkway. And let me bring you over here for a second and show you they're loading into trucks right now in a very orderly fashion. Now, it is the state of Querétaro, which is where we are. And in fact, if you want to have a look of what it's like to go into one of these, let me just see if we can go in and follow. Permiso, por favor? We're going to bring you in here for a second to give you a look at the conditions that they have to ride in. Come on in here for 1 second, Steven. You can see the conditions are very crowded. It's dark in here. They're being organized to sit down. It will be very hot by day's end. And now we'll go ahead and step out of here to get out of their way. Now, where they're heading is a little bit different than the last caravan. Here's one of the migrants, Hugo, that told us where he's going. And the final destination, where do you think is?
Piedras Negras.
Piedras Negras?
Yes.
Which would possibly be crossing around Eagle Pass, Texas?
Yeah.
Now let's show you a map of where that's going. The last caravan went west to Tijuana, but that right there, Eagle Pass, is only 660 miles from where we are. It is the Texas border, and they'll be there no later than Tuesday, probably more like Monday, guys.
Wow. Hey, Griff, that riding in those semis looked completely unsafe. Who's organizing this?
So this is each Mexican state, as you move north, is organizing these rides, these free rides and these free meals. So in this case, it is the Mexican state of Querétaro that's organizing these rides right here. That'll take them to the next state, which is San Luis Potosi.
All right. Griff Jenkins, we'll be getting back to you. Appreciate that report.
Unbelievable
Really
images.
remarkable pictures.
Just a line of people up and around.
And he said those trucks get so hot.
Yep. Unbelievable. All right, coming up. Do not let the cold affect your house. Skip Bedell has a very simple project to make your home safer and smarter this winter. That's coming up next.
He's on my doorbell right now. Whether you're leaving your house for a day or a week, you can't put a price on peace of mind. What's going on at home while I'm away?
Our next guest has easy DIY projects that will make your house safer and smarter and more efficient in the winter. Right, Ed?
That's right. Joining us. Yeah, I thought you wanted to keep reading.
I was about to read your part. I'm sorry.
It's all about the technology, guys. I've been researching the best smart products out there, and I got them here for you today.
Okay.
So I especially love Ring, because what they've done is made a whole ecosystem of products that works to help keep your house safe. So you guys all know the Ring Video Doorbell. It's the best in the market. It gives you HD camera, two-way audio, so you can see on your smartphone who's at the door. You can talk to them. You can even let them in with a smart lock. But in addition to that, they have this whole system. Everything from smart cameras, indoor and outdoor cameras that work with your smartphone, and even this awesome alarm system, which I love. So check this out. For $10 a month, you get 24/7 professional monitoring. So no more big bills, no contracts. You get a full alarm system for your home, and all of this talks to each other. So for instance, if the alarm system goes off, the cameras automatically start recording, and everything goes right to your smartphone. So Ring has figured out a way to tie that whole thing together. It's
so
unbelievable.
Ring calls the cops?
Yeah, so that's right. So 24/7, happen, they'll call you if they get an alarm, and if you don't give the right password, then that monitoring system calls the police. They also have smoke, fire alarms,
cool.
carbon monoxide, even a panic button that goes with it.
Now, do you do this yourself, or can
Yeah,
you
this
call
is
the
all. That's the
company
best
and
part.
they'll
This is
come
all DIY installation. It's super easy.
Fantastic.
This next product, I got to tell you guys, I love this. This is the Brilliant light switch. So this is a smart home control. Remember when we used to have like 20 remote controls, and then we got a universal remote?
Right.
Well, now we have 20 apps on the phone. This takes all your apps and controls all your smart devices right in your light switch. You pull your light switch out, you pop this into DIY, a couple of minutes installation, and now you have control of your climate, your music, your
So
lights.
where your light switch is right now, you replace it with this Brilliant brand.
Yes. Watch this. So someone's at my Ring video doorbell.
Yeah.
I can now see who's at the door, no matter what room I'm in.
Just by looking
they show
at
up on the
your
camera. I can
switch.
hit my smart lock and let them in. It's
All right, what about
unbelievable. So this is an incredible product from Brilliant.
Yeah.
This is Flow by Moen. So I love this. This is smart home water monitoring for your home. So the EPA says we waste over 1 trillion gallons of water a year in the United States just from leaks, from leaky faucets, running toilets. This will monitor your water usage. It sends notifications to your phone. It gets plumbed into your main water line. But the thing I love about this the best is that God forbid you have a leak. Let's say you break a pipe.
A lot of people did this week.
Freezing weather, your pipe bursts, you're away on vacation or you're working, you come home, your house is destroyed. This will immediately shut your water off. It detects a leak up to 1 drop per hour.
So you put
That's
that on
small.
the water main.
Yeah, this goes on the water main. It can detect a leak as small as 1 drop per hour. It'll shut your water off. It sends you a notification on your phone.
Cool
and
stuff.
the Flow by Moen has got it figured out.
Well,
It's
if you'd
unbelievable
like more
product.
information, go to skipfidel.com.
Always.
Look at that, something for us to do this
skipfidel.com.
week.
We appreciate it. All right, it is the breaking story out of Washington this morning. Senator Cory Booker now running for president. Reaction from Geraldo Rivera next.
Plus, counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, is here live.